A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi. All glories assembled devotees. All glories assembled devotees. All glories Shri Guru and
Jai Shri Guru Brahma.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Today we're reading from Canto 4, Chapter 9, Text 27. This is at the conclusion of the story of Dhruva Maharaj. So, the Sanskrit verse. Sopi Sankalpajam Vishnu.
Sopi Sankalpajam Vishnu.
Pada Seva Parasaditam.
Pada Seva Parasaditam.
Prapya Sankalpa Nirvanam.
Prapya Sankalpa Nirvanam.
Nati Prito Yagat Puram.
Nati Prito Vyagapuram.
Sopi Sankalpa Jam Vishnu.
Sopi Sankalpajam Vishnu.
Pada Seva Padasititam.
Adasevo Pasaditam.
Prapya Sankalpa Nirvanam.
Prapya Sankalpa Nirvanam.
Nati Prito Vyagat Puram.
Nati Prito Vyagapuram.
Sopi Sankalpajam Vishnu.
Sopi Sankalpajam Vishnu.
Padasevo Pasaditam.
Padasevo Pasaditam.
Prapya Sankalpa Nirvanam.
Prapya Sankalpa Nirvanam.
Nati Prito Vyagapuram.
Nati Prito Vyagapuram.
Sopi Sankalpajam Vishnu.
Sopi Sankalpajam Vishnu.
Padaseva Pasaditam.
Padasevo Pasaditam.
Prapya Sankalpa Nirvanam.
Prapya Sankalpa Nirvanam.
Nati Prito Bhyagat Puram.
Nati Prito Vyagapuram.
Sopi Sankalpajam Vishnu.
Sopi Sankalpajam Vishnu.
Padasevo Pasaditam.
Padasevo Pasaditam.
Prapya Sankalpa Nirvanam.
Prapya Sankalpa Nirvanam.
Nati Prito Vyagat Puram.
Nati Prito Vyagapuram.
Sopi Sankalpajam Vishnu.
Sopi Sankalpajam Vishnu.
Padasevo Pasaditam.
Padasevo Pasaditam.
Prapya Sankalpa Nirvanam.
Prapya Sankalpa Nirvanam.
Nati Prito Vyagat Puram.
Nati Prito Vyagapuram.
Sa
Sa
He Dhruva Maharaj.
He Dhruva Maharaj.
Api
Api
Although
Although
Sankalpajam
Sankalpajam.
the desired result.
The desired result.
Vishnu
Vishnu.
of Lord Vishnu.
Of Lord Vishnu.
Padaseva
Padaseva.
by serving the lotus feet.
By serving the lotus feet.
Upasaditam
Upasaditam.
obtained.
Obtained.
Prapya
Prapya.
having achieved.
Having achieved.
Sankalpa
Sankalpa.
of his determination.
Of his determination.
Nirvanam
Nirvanam.
the satisfaction.
The satisfaction.
Na
Na.
na Atiprita
Atiprita.
very much pleased.
Very much pleased. Abhyagat,
he returned.
he returned.
Puram,
Puram,
to his home.
to his home.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
Despite having achieved the desired result of his determination by worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, Dhruva Maharaj was not very pleased. Thus he returned to his home. Please repeat. Despite having achieved the desired result
Despite having achieved the desired result
of his determination
of his determination
by worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord,
by worshiping the lotus feet of the Lord,
Dhruva Maharaj was not very pleased.
Dhruva Maharaj was not very pleased.
Thus he returned to his home.
Thus he returned to his home.
Report. By worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord,
By worshiping
no, I'll just read it. By worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord in devotional service as instructed by Narada Muni, Dhruva Maharaj achieved the desired result. His desire was to get a very exalted position, excelling that of his father, his grandfather, and his great-grandfather. Does anyone know who his great-grandfather was? Hmm? You got the, you can read. Brahma, yes. And although it was somewhat of a childish determination, because Dhruva Maharaj was nothing but a small child, Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is so kind and merciful that he fulfilled Dhruva's desire. Dhruva Maharaj wanted a residence more exalted than any ever occupied by anyone else in his family. Therefore, he was offered the planet in which the Lord personally resides, and his determination was completely satisfied. Still, when Dhruva Maharaj returned home, he was not very much pleased. For although in pure devotional service there is no demand from the Lord, because of his childish nature he had demanded something. Thus, although the Lord also fulfilled his desire, he was not very pleased. Rather, he was ashamed that he had demanded something from the Lord where he should not have done this. So in this verse, this is the conclusion of Dhruva Maharaj's amazing determination and Leela with the Lord. And Dhruva Maharaj here is drawing his personal conclusion, which means he was not satisfied. He started his whole quest. If we probably remember back earlier in the Bhagavatam, where he was accustomed to sit on the lap of his father, who was the great emperor. And somehow or other, his brother was also there, and a stepbrother, you might say. Brother of his mother's co-wife, because he had two wives. So the co-wife, she convinced his father that only her son should sit on the throne and not Dhruva. So that made Dhruva completely furious and angry and very determined that he wanted to have that right and even more. So his desire led him on a particular path because that was a very, very difficult desire to fulfill. As we can see here, he wanted a position exceeding that of his great-grandfather, who was Brahma. So what is Brahma's kingdom? Does anyone know?
Brahmaloka.
Hmm?
Brahmaloka.
the entire universe. He's the first created being, and by him the whole universe is populated. So everyone is descendant of Lord Brahma. So he has a very great position. But even that position, at the end of the expiration of the time of the universe, even that gets destroyed. So it has its limits, it has its time frame when it applies. But Dhruva was granted something even greater that would never, ever be destroyed. It's far greater. But he was embarrassed. Because this is the result of associating directly with the Supreme Lord. That one gets realization, one gets spiritual knowledge and awakening. And that knowledge resulted in him understanding that he had come for the wrong purpose and achieved something much greater, much more unique, much harder to attain. So this all is important to know, and Dhruva Maharaj was fully aware of what he had attained and why he had come. And we'll see later on that he always remembers the history and how even his mother had helped him. So at the end of life, when he's going back to Godhead, does anyone know what he did? He got aboard special carrier of the Lord to go back to Godhead, and what did he do?
Ask for his mother.
Huh?
Ask for his mother to get on it.
He what?
Ask for his mother to get on it.
No, he didn't ask for his mother. He looked for her. He looked behind, and there she was coming in another airplane. Because he wanted to appreciate that his mother had done so much in setting him on the right path. He was always appreciated of everything that was done to help him. So truly the sentiment of a devotee. I was just listening this morning when Prabhupada in 1966, he had the devotees read out the 26 qualities of devotees. And he said, you will know you are becoming advanced in devotional service as you develop these qualities. So you should be cultivating all these 26 qualities. But that'll be a different class. Because it's good to know that we're doing the right thing and we're making right progress. So there are lessons here in what we say the Leela of the Lord and Dhruva Maharaj and their interactions. So when I'm finished, we'll discuss, and each of you can tell us what your main inspiration or main message that you get from the life and the activities of Dhruva Maharaj given in the Bhagavatam. But for right now, I will go to a different direction. Briefly. So, what I was understanding, first of all, is that Krishna reciprocates with his devotees' devotion, even if he has material motive. Someone comes to him for material motive. Some suffering, some want of wealth, whatever his desire is, Krishna will reciprocate with it. He doesn't ignore it, he will give it. And another message is that to understand the power of following the instructions of the pure devotee, the Guru, without deviation. So Narada Muni gave him instruction to follow. And he went to the holy place of Vrindavan, and he followed those instructions. And how long did it take him to become perfect by that? Anyone know?
6 months.
6 months. Has anyone been here practicing more than 6 months? And perfection seems a little bit harder, right? It's not so easy, but he did in 6 months. So that's a powerful message that just simply following that is what one who wants to achieve the darshan of Krishna, one who wants to conquer all birth and death, simply has to approach a bona fide spiritual master, a bona fide Vaishnava guru, and follow their instruction. Then they will achieve all success. My own experience was that as I came to Krishna consciousness in 1975, practically speaking, now I can look back and say I didn't know what I was really getting into. I really wasn't clear like I am now. I didn't know exactly what was the wonderful quality and the wonderful gift that was being bestowed on me. But by following Srila Prabhupada's instruction, all benediction come. Even Prabhupada, what did he say? He said, if needed from my disciple, I will open the back door to Vaikuntha so you can come in. So even you're not completely perfect, Krishna, Prabhupada may let you in the back door. So that should encourage us a lot as we struggle. As we, not just struggle, but we practice. There may be struggle. We're struggling with lifetimes of material desires. And Dhruva Maharaj, when he started, obviously he was having material desire. But still he achieved the highest goal. He got the direct darshan and touch of the Supreme Lord. There's nothing more to be gained than this. So Lord Chaitanya explained to Sanatana Goswami that all the scriptures stress one thing. They stress the association of pure devotees of Krishna. And the opportunity to associate with pure devotee of Krishna is most valuable opportunity in life. So Lord Chaitanya was at one point in the Chaitanya Charitamrita is narrated that Lord Chaitanya met this devotee Ramananda Roy, and he questioned him about the goal of life. And one of the questions he asked him is, what is the most valuable thing in the world? And Ramananda Roy, he had love for Krishna, Radha and Krishna. He replied, the one who has love for Radha and Krishna possesses the most valuable jewel and the greatest riches. So of course we know Radha and Krishna come as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So one who has worldly wealth, material wealth, is not actually considered to be wealthy. But when one comes to the spiritual platform of Krishna consciousness, then he can understand that there are no riches more valuable than Radha and Krishna. Because eternal service to Radha and Krishna is the perfection of all we can try to do, all our efforts of bhakti. So we recall Dhruva Maharaj's statement that when the Supreme Lord appeared to him and wanted to benedict him with something, And he was seeing Krishna face to face. And what did he say to the Lord? He said, I am so pleased that I don't want anything from you. So here is the Supreme Lord of all spiritual material worlds who can give anything and would give anything to him. And he said, I don't want anything. Because having gotten the direct contact with the Lord, he was completely satisfied. But then Lord Chaitanya asked Ramanand Roy another question. What is the most painful experience in the entire existence? Does anyone know what that is? You know the answer. What is it?
To not able to remember Krishna?
Not exactly. That's a nice answer. Anyone else?
But loss of a Vaishnava, like losing the association of a Vaishnava?
Yes. He said separation from a pure devotee constitute the most painful existence. In other words, when there is no devotee of Lord present, there is a great suffering in society, and the association with other persons becomes very painful. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it stated that if one is bereft or has no association of pure devotees, then he may try to become happy through endeavors for society, friendship, love, but they'll all be devoid of Krishna consciousness. And he is considered a person who is looking for happiness in those areas, society, friendship, and love, is actually considered to be in the most distressed condition. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the fifth canto of the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, text 44, it stated that the association of a pure devotee is more desirable than life itself. And in separation from him, one cannot even pass a second happily. So, how does it apply to the story of Dhruva Maharaj? Well, he got the association of Narada Muni, a pure devotee. And that set him on the course, the path, to achieve all perfection, to achieve the direct darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So valuable is that short association. So this is the essence, the value of that association. Then to understand that association a little more deeply, it is stated that if we do not associate with advanced devotees, Uttamadhikaris, then we shall simply want to remain in the lowest stage of devotion, and then we are not making any progress. Then we shall simply enjoy the material field without entering into the spiritual platform. This was from a lecture given by Prabhupada in Vrindavan, November 1972. It is essential that one constantly associate with pure devotees who are engaged in morning and evening in chanting Hare Krishna mantra. In this way, one will get the chance to purify his heart and develop this ecstatic, pure love of Krishna. This statement was also confirmed in the third canto, 25th chapter, verse 25 of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Lord Kapila says, "My dear mother, when a person is actually in association with pure devotees, the sublime potency of my pure devotional service can be experienced. In other words, when a pure devotee speaks, his words will act upon the hearts of the audience. What is the secret of this hearing and chanting? A professional speaker cannot impress transcendental ecstasy within the hearts of the listeners. However, when a realized soul who is engaged in the service of the Lord is speaking, he has the potency to inject spiritual life within the audience. One should, therefore, seek the association of pure unalloyed devotees, and by such association and service, a neophyte will certainly develop attachment and love and devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from chapter 17 of the Nectar of Devotion. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had associates Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar Goswami, very, very exalted devotees, Premi Bhaktas. They developed love for Krishna, pure love. They had developed pure Krishna prema. They were always with Krishna and Mahaprabhu. They have bound up Krishna with a tight rope of love in their hearts. And Mahaprabhu associated with them in his Antya-lila, his later pastimes. And by doing so, he set an example. Mahaprabhu says, the association of my devotee is greater than the association of myself. One should associate with such a devotee, such a sadhu, by becoming completely surrendered to him. Without surrender, there is no question of association. You'll get no benefit at all. It will be fruitless. One may be surrendered to Krishna, but Krishna is not pleased with him if he does not do sadhu sangha, if he cannot capture Krishna. Sadhu sangha is required. If one is completely surrendered to the sadhu and associates, then he will get the real benefit. So there's a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, chapter 3, text 22, that says, this means that one should be always with the Guru, thinking of the Guru as very dear, worshipable deity of one's heart, Atma Devata. With that mentality, if someone surrenders unto the Guru and hears Srimad Bhagavatam from him, he'll get the mercy of Guru, and this Bhagavad Dharma Tattva will be revealed to him. So, let's see what's happening. Moon sign. So the most important thing is that we render service without duplicity. If someone surrenders to Sadhu Guru and serves him with duplicity, then Krishna serves him without duplicity, then Krishna becomes very pleased with him. Otherwise, if one artificially, externally says, yes, Gurudev, Kripa Karon, Gurudev, give me mercy, give me mercy. Upon seeing Gurudev, such a person falls down like a rod and offers dandavats, yet there is so much duplicity inside. Praying only from the lips. He cannot please the Sadhu Guru or Krishna. Hari is there within your heart, and he knows what is in your heart. And if your heart is full of duplicity, Hari knows. You cannot cheat Lord Hari. There is a most important thing. Krishna becomes very pleased only by Sadhu Sangha, Sadhu Guru Seva, service to Sadhu Guru without duplicity. There is no other means to please Krishna. Therefore, every day we chant Guru Vastikam, Yasha Prasada, Bhagavad Prasada, Yasha Prasada, Nagadi Kadobi. If Sadhu Guru is pleased, then Krishna becomes pleased. So, let me stop here. And take questions? Well, first, my question to all of you is, what is your most prominent understanding, realization from the life and story of Dhruva Maharaj given in the Srimad Bhagavatam? Anyone would like to share that? You have one? Yeah.
I didn't think about it yet.
What do you think of? What inspires you about the story of Dhruva Maharaj?
The fact that he felt so strongly, like when you're a child, you don't really think so much about, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to sit on my dad's lap. I feel like if I was in his position, I would have given up really easily.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else want to give their own thoughts?
Well, it's actually along the lines of what Maya just said, but determination. That you were so determined. This is one of the qualities that New Padeshamrita, that's qualities favorable for devotional service, is determination. That even though his desires were impure, he was so determined to please Krishna, to please the personality of Godhead, to achieve his desire. And he actually achieved it because of his determination was so strong.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah, what did he do? He ate only dried leaves and stood on one foot for a whole month. I couldn't even eat dry leaves for one meal. Go ahead.
Yeah, Prabhu, so he got the guidance from the Guru, right, and he followed it diligently. So I think that is one of the quality I would like to highlight here.
Yes. Very good. Anyone else want to share? Did you have something in mind?
I was thinking about determination.
Hmm?
I was thinking about determination, but it's
You can
already
say it.
said.
Okay.
Yeah, determination is what inspired me. Like, he had it wasn't like for spiritual benefit, but for material benefit to sit on it. But he was so determined, and he still got the Lord to answer his prayers.
And he approached through a sadhu guru.
Yeah.
How to do this.
One of the things, the lesson that I learned from Dhruva Maharaj's story is that the point of taking guidance or instruction from a sadhu guru, that was one of the changing points. His desire was just to get a material thing, but his guru was a very spiritual guru. He was using or going through his guru to get a material entity or something like this, but sadhu guru Narada Muni, and Narada Muni gave us love of Krishna. And then even after he determination, as some people said, he received it, achieved it, and yet he was unhappy. The sadhu told him that this is not just the only thing you should get for, because the Supreme Lord in front of you. So it's quite a lot of different lessons, but one of the things that I was saying important was that the person who took his guidance from was really one of the deal breaker, I would say.
And the guru tested him.
Yeah.
He said,
yes.
"Oh, you're too young. Just go home. It's a very dangerous place to be in the forest. Go home. Come back later." And he said, "No, no." And then he was given the full mercy.
Yeah, usually, sometimes people do just like pujas or yagyas, homas for receiving some benefit, right? If I do this puja, I'll maybe get a good job or something. Right? So those kind of things were there behind same thing. But this guru was a special person to say so that helped him go beyond that, not just
And
for testing.
it was his mother who told him to go seek out a sadhu, right?
Yes.
His mother was the first guru, and told him, go seek the better guru, the higher realized devotee, and follow his instructions. So he did that. Yeah.
So, one point here, so when Dhruva Maharaj left home and going to forest, he didn't know exactly where to go. But because of his determination to surrender or worship the Lord, then Krishna arranged a guru for him. That's what I think. The way Narad Muni came.
You have experience like that?
We have not surrendered.
You have deep desire and Lord Krishna directed you to a bona fide guru? It says that Krishna directs us to Guru and then Guru directs us to Krishna. Oh, I thought you raised your hand. Did you have something?
I did, but I guess circle back on the importance that he approached his mother first, because completely material mindset, and through his mother's wisdom, I can't do anything for you. Approach someone. So that's also more than anything. The story, aside from Dhruva's determination, wouldn't have meant anything if his mother didn't point him in the right direction. Otherwise, he would have just gone on a tantrum through the palace. So the first guru is always the most important one because that sets you on the path. Otherwise, your path can go anywhere.
There's even a special name for that guru. Vartma Pradakshika. Reminds me of the story. Have any of you ever heard of Bhakti Tirtha Swami?
Yes.
A few of you? He was one of the great ISKCON leaders, guru, sannyasi, great preacher. He preached all over Africa. And he tells the story in his life that when he first met the devotees, he had a guru. Not a Vaishnava guru, but he had a guru. And he was instructing, him, and then he met the devotees, read Prabhupada's books, joined the temple, and then after 6 months he went back and he met that guru again to try and get more instruction. And that guru said, so you have gone and you surrendered to Bhaktivedanta Swami? What are you doing here? Why have you come back? I want you to leave and I don't want to see you ever again. So that was a special Vartma Pradakshika guru. Now, I may not have quite got the story perfect, but close. And I remember the story was there when and Prabhupada was told that he was black body, African. He went to Princeton and got his degree from Princeton. And then he joined Prabhupada, ISKCON. And in the late 70s, Prabhupada was with us. He went to the communist countries in Eastern Europe. And he was distributing books. So if you can imagine, here's this black body man distributing books in the Eastern Europe communist countries where it's illegal. And the police were chasing him, trying to capture him. And he was going from house to house, trying to avoid them. And Prabhupada was so pleased by his efforts to distribute books. He was very, very pleased. And now as a result, just give you a little aside, and that is a fact. In Alachua, you all know where Alachua is, huh? Most of you. So there we have many different devotees. There are now 100 Russian devotees in Alachua. Can you believe that? From these initial efforts to preach, when it was totally at risk of your own life. So more, anyone else? Would you like to share anything?
I have a question. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
What did you get?
I guess, and just like seeing how Dhruva Maharaj, he had this intense desire, and Narada Muni, he gave him, because like I don't know, like we read the story of like Chitraketu, and he got like Angira Muni, and both Angira Muni and Narada Muni came to him, and at least like in that story, he did ultimately like get realization of Godhead. But something that like Narada Muni gave Dhruva Maharaj specifically was this devotional service, and that's also something like it's just something that's not really given out very easily, and it's just I don't know. He acted on it. He followed those instructions, and it's just thinking like Srila Prabhupada. He's given us devotional service and this access to it so that we can come to it, like just like the way that Dhruva Maharaj was. So it's like we should take advantage of it and like listen to Srila Prabhupada. Yes, that's
Yes. You know, that was very special. Narada Muni gave him because why? What was one of the reasons? Because he was only 5 years old boy. If you probably met 5-year-old boy or girl already, and what kind of instruction can you give them that would totally change their life? You know, they're not ready. But he took it very seriously like that. So we should also take seriously. Maybe it could be a little easier for us. You want
I had a question.
Go ahead.
Maybe you both just answered it, but I'll ask it anyway. There are so many people with material desires, but only Dhruva Maharaj got pure devotional service bestowed on him. Like, why aren't the others able to get the same? Why only Dhruva Maharaj got this?
Well, one thing's for sure, we were reading that because he approached a pure devotee and surrendered to him without duplicity. You know, he said, do like this, do like that, and that's exactly what he did. And when he told him, you do like this, and your desire will, the Lord will fulfill your desire. So sometimes people, they want something, but they won't take all the proper steps. You have to surrender to be surrendered to the Guru. This is something a little different. I know, for example, in my life, before meeting the devotees of Srila Prabhupada, I don't think I really had a good concept of what full surrender means. And to fully surrender to the right person. You have to fully surrender to someone who can deliver you, who has that potency. And then you get the benefit. So that's very important. Does that help?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
so I guess in that sense, because like especially like being so neophyte and like whenever you first like start off, you don't really have, you can't really qualify whether somebody is at that level. Like how do you identify like which devotees you should surrender to in order to receive that potency? You know, receive that.
Which devotees to surrender to? You mean when you're first coming in contact?
Yeah, like how do you know like if this person is like bona fide? How do you know if this person is?
Well, I mean, if you're talking your very initial experiences, we have no idea. There's no sign. This is just, like Prabhupada was explaining, exhibits exceptional good qualities. One time Prabhupada said, my devotees, my disciples are all gentlemen. Which nowadays may be a little more rare, you know. And you'll feel something, absolutely. I know from my experience, that was one of the big effects that I felt very special relationships with devotees that I didn't have otherwise. I felt that they didn't want to take something from me. They wanted to give me something that was beneficial. That was my greatest benefit. So it's a different kind of experience. What do? You go out and distribute books sometimes?
Sometimes.
Yeah. So when you're giving a person a book, what do you think? Are You look for a person who's a little interested and you give them the book. Do they know that now they've met a pure devotee of the Lord? Probably not. They don't know, they just know here's a nice person, give me a book that could make me happy. And that is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, that his devotees are so merciful, they will meet unqualified people and give them Krishna. The story is there, the story of Jogai and Wadai, you heard that one? They were two criminals, you might say. They were doing all kinds of crimes. And they were attacking Lord Nityananda. And yet when they agreed to follow, Lord Chaitanya gave them the highest. He admitted them into his inner circle of devotees. And so, what was, Lord Nityananda gave the analysis in one statement. He said, you have come in this age to deliver the most fallen, Patita Pavana. So these are the most fallen. Just as Prabhupada, he came to deliver the most fallen people of the West. And who were his initial customers? Hippies. Relatively speaking, we would say they're more or less pretty fallen, right? They weren't pious lifestyle for the most part. And they became devotees. And they preached. And they made their own disciples. So it goes on like that. So maybe one day you'll have your own disciples. To have a disciple means that I want to help this person, like Narada Muni, I want to give him Krishna. So we know we can do that. We simply give them Prabhupada's books and then invite them to come and chant with the devotees. That's our way of giving, and it works, right? And that is very pleasing to Lord Chaitanya and to Srila Prabhupada. And when you please them, everything happens. So when we share Krishna consciousness with others, the Lord is very pleased with us. Could be your neighbor, could be your relative, could be somebody you meet at the street, on the street, could be somebody at the special fair or whatever's going on, or the Rath Yatra, but give them something. Just look at those people and see. They're actually suffering. I could have been like that, but a devotee gave me connection with Krishna. They should get it too. More question? Anything? Well, he's got. You're next. There he is.
If I could tell a story. I read once many years ago about an Olympic athlete, I forget which sport, but she was standing on the podium, just won the gold medal, and she was crying. And sometime later, they interviewed her about what she was feeling then. And she had trained her entire life, such austerity from the youngest childhood, trained. This was her one purpose in life, to get the gold medal. I mean, this was what she was living for. And once she achieved it, she felt like her life was out without purpose. She had nothing to live for. So Dhruva Maharaj, he achieved the result of his great desire and what he performed such great austerities for. But in his case, he saw the personality of Godhead, And his realization was, all these things, the greatest thing in the material world, it's worthless in comparison. What's the comparison you gave? That
Broken glass.
yeah, I've been seeking,
Diamonds, yeah.
chunks of glass, and I've been given the most valuable jewel.
Perfect. Thank you. Did you want, somebody else want to say?
I have questions.
Get the mic.
Yes. So, in this text, and then in purpose, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned, like, we know Dhruva Maharaj received all the benedictions what he desired, and he was very ashamed of that he asked something to the Lord. But with our current position, we are not say we are in trouble in this material life or any kind of trouble, and that is by nature or by feeling, by default we remember Krishna, and somehow we have that internal inner feeling that Krishna will get us out of it. And so how should we approach this kind of situation when we are in trouble? I mean, here in this case, Dhruva Maharaj had different desire, but some or other way we also have similar kind of desire in this material world.
Well, there is a verse in the Bhagavatam, and it basically says, whether you're full of desires, you have no desires, or you have spiritual desire, all only take to the path of bhakti. To get whatever, that everyone should practice. So, there is only one direction to go, because we are eternally the servants of Krishna. We're stuck in this material body, in this material universe, suffering from the three modes of nature, the threefold miseries. That's a very difficult position. And it's not easy, it's not hard to go around and see people in so many terrible suffering conditions. But what is the essence of all suffering? Is the identification with the body. Because we identify with the body, then we suffer. But for a pure devotee, there is no suffering. And Krishna also says that I personally take care of my pure devotees. So we should be fearless, like Dhruva Maharaj. And say, let me go that direction. He has shown the path. This is where I should go. Then I will be satisfied. Because what is there to, in this material world? Yes, we're going to suffer. Look, Bhishma, everyone know who Bhishma is? Grandfather of the Kuru dynasty. On his deathbed, he's telling him, I look at you Pandavas and I see you are so dear to Lord Krishna. But you suffered so much. They tried to kill you in so many ways and cause suffering in so many ways. He saw that. But he saw that they had Krishna as their friend. And Krishna always came and saved them. Always. And another example is their Queen Kunti, their aunt. She's praying to Lord Krishna as he's leaving Hastinapur, and he's saying, so many miseries will come, let them come again and again and again on me. She's praying, let me suffer all these things, because then I see you. I know you will be there. So if that's how I get Krishna, let me suffer. Of course, that's very high. Very high. You may not feel quite like that yet.
Yeah.
But this is the realization of the pure devotees. Any other questions? Is it time?
No? 8 minutes.
There's no clock on this.
No, it's here. Can you see this? Can you see that far? 8 minutes.
Oh, I can't read that from here. Bright lights are shading it.
8 minutes left.
8 minutes left, okay, where's 8 more minutes of, 6 more minutes of questions? You have a question?
Hare Krishna.
So Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, 4 types of people come to Thee, surrender to Thee. So Dhruva Maharaj was taken away the most cherished thing that he had as 5 years old. It wasn't the kingdom really, was sitting on his father's lap. So he was real distressed. He wasn't going to Krishna for wealth. But on the meeting the pure devotee like Narad, with the instruction of his mother first, he attained the highest. But he didn't recognize what he's supposed to ask for, because he asked for broken glasses, and then he realized that, oh, this, he get the highest gem, like the Lord. So because on the quest for, we desiring, we might not feel like Dhruva Maharaj, because we are comfortable in our comfort zone. So our surrender wouldn't be like that, because we healthy, we have food, we have clothes, we have nice big house, vehicle, everything. So our surrender wouldn't be like that. So unless Krishna, that's why Krishna takes away and separates himself from the gopis to make the desire and love more intensified. So our surrender, I think that we wouldn't have that kind of surrender, because we're in a kind of comfort zone, unless Krishna, real mercies, take away everything from us. Then we will really call out to Krishna. Like, we're doing the japa, we're just doing japa because we have to do japa. But if you're in real sickness, disease, or some terrible situation, I think the real call out will be at that time, the Krishna.
Of course, it says like that in the Bhagavatam that one is in a helpless condition, he can cry out to Krishna very sincerely. That is true. But of course, in other places it says that the devotee may get opulence, like Krishna's friend, the Brahmin who came to beg the rice. I can actually give him a little bit of rice, Sudama. The story of Sudama, he came and gave. And then he got so much wealth. But he didn't forget Krishna. He lived with that, and he continued to worship Krishna. It can be dangerous, but if you have a sincere heart, Krishna will help. Other things? Anyone else have any thoughts or realization you want to share?
So, would it be okay if we lose like material things, or say, would it be okay to say that Krishna has done that so we can grow more attached to him,
I'm not sure. I mean, obviously that may be something you consider. But Prabhupada was not pleased by devotees being negligent or, not careful. And in the name of being Krishna conscious, he didn't believe that. So, we have to make proper endeavor. And but if it goes anyway, then what can you do? Only you can depend on Krishna. If Krishna wants to take something away, how are you going to stop him? He has 10 hands. And if he wants to give you something, the same 10 hands is giving you. How can you refuse? Do you have a question? Did you have any thoughts about this?
I'm just
Anyone?
So, would you say that, it was just on my tongue. So punishment brings you, you said punishment brings you closer to Krishna and letting go. Are those like two things connected?
Well, you're saying punishment, okay, that's, we didn't use the word punishment. Difficulties or reverses in life. And then we let go and realize that it wasn't mine to begin with, or not it was not avoidable. So then you accept and see that this guiding me in a certain direction.
Next.
Okay. Anyone else? Something?
Just in response to the last couple of questions, that if Krishna takes something away, we see that as coming from Krishna. If Krishna gives us something, we see that as coming from Krishna, and we see each equally. It's up to Krishna whether he wants to give us success or failure, wealth or poverty. That's in his hands.
Of course. All right, now time's up. All right, thank you, everyone.
So yeah, we all can slowly stand up, put our